Motors reporting quarterly results this morning. Let's take a look at the shares, how they're reacting. Up 25 cents. Some actually saw good news in the fact that General Motors profits fell 41% year over year. General Motors stock, by the way, now down 40% since its IPO. Joining the company now is Karl Brauer with TotalCarScore.com. Karl, Wall Street has its own way of interpreting news, but I think anyone looking at the numbers with General Motors would say this is ugly stuff, and it looks like it could get worse.
Well, I think everything's got to be kept in perspective, of course, Charles. And if you fixate on just the numbers, that's exactly the conclusion you're going to come to.
What else would I fixate on?
Well, I think things like product. At the end of the day, that's going to be my main focus, because I think that's where any successful company starts and ends, is with good product.
Karl, does anybody want their products right now?
Yeah, I think they do. I think that sales are strong. They've lost a couple percentage points in the market since a year ago, but that's because a year ago, two big players, Honda and Toyota, were really down from their own challenges that were, from the tsunami and the earthquake. So the world changed a lot in the last year, and I could make the argument that, given how much more competition there is right now, and that a few years ago we were always talking about how much money General Motors was losing, how much market share they were losing, like, on a regular basis. And now we're saying, well, they didn't make as much money as they made a year ago.
So you admit then that they had a pretty good situation, limited competition a year ago when everyone had the pom-pom saying that the bailout worked. Now that the players are back in, the Honda Accord up 70% sales last month, the Altima up 25%, the Civic up 78%, Corolla up 35%, the Chevy Cruze down 39%. Obviously, those are unsustainable trends. And however, and we saw this before, this is why these guys got in trouble the last time. Now that these names, the Hondas and the Toyotas, are back in the game, and Volkswagen's in the game strong, can General Motors survive, particularly if they're going to lose $1 billion in Europe this year?
Europe's the problem here. The product they've got already out there, and more that's coming, is very strong. I was just in the Cadillac ATS a few weeks ago. This is a car that competes head-to-head with the 3 Series and actually does as well or better, which I don't think anyone would have believed was possible from Cadillac a couple years ago. They've got to get Europe fixed, and we know that everyone is suffering. Anyone in Europe is dealing with that right now, and I think maybe what you alluded to is that the bailout for Europe has got to come, and it's going to have to be pretty much as extreme as it was in this country. A lot of restructuring for cost and payment and overcapacity. It's a mess over there, and they've got to fix it.
All right, Karl, I think it's something of a mess here too, but we appreciate your expertise. Thanks a lot, buddy. David, I got to go to you.